Welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. From the bus leagues to the big leagues, the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast has got you covered. Here's Jeff and John. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 118, and today, stand-up comedian and Cincinnati Red guru, Josh Sneed is going to join us. We had him on last year. We met Josh last year when we were in Arizona. And he came on with us last year. It was a lot of fun. We're going to have him on again today. Just so much fun. We're doing some T-shirt stuff with him. But, yeah. So, hey, is your car fixed?
My car has been totaled.
Jeff had a wreck, by the way. We got to get
Yeah, I haven't really talked about it. It's not a big deal. I'm fine. But that Sunday game in Houston, I'm on my way to the ballpark, and sitting at a stoplight, and I just glance up in the rearview mirror just in time to see this lady just barrel into me. And she hit me so hard that I hit the car in front of me and really messed it up too. I don't know. They probably didn't total his. It was like a new Mustang, super nice. I felt terrible for the kid. But yeah, so totaled my car. The good news is we have uninsured motorist protection because this lady didn't have insurance. She didn't have a driver's license. She did not. She was fine, I guess. They did take her to the hospital, but it was just a big pain in the ass. So, got to buy a new car now. So that's not fun. We don't know how much we're getting yet for it, but anyway, I'll never forget that trip to Houston.
I can't believe when you texted me on that and you told me that. We were like, because we were on a college visit. And you were like, I got one more, by the way. And so I was like, holy crap. I told Kathy, I was like, look at this.
Yeah.
I said, Jeff just got in a wreck down in Houston.
Yeah. And I had whiplash, which hurt for a little bit. And I had 2 little cuts on my forehead. I want it noted on the record that I still beat Stephen Stevenson to the ballpark that day. And then shout out to Kennedy Landry because she drove me home. And very safe driver, very, very generous of her to do that. It wasn't too bad out of her way, but still, I'm sure she didn't. Yeah, I'm sure she didn't want a 49-year-old sit next to her for 3.5 hours. But
that ruins her jam, man.
She listened to all of her music. Believe me, I did not get in any of my music. But anyway, So you're touring colleges, and
one more.
That's not cheap either. So
no, you look. Everybody knows Jeff's a TCU guy. I did not go to UT, but I'm a big UT fan. Well, Kevin, my youngest, is down to 3 schools. And they are all SEC, and none of them are UT. I mean, he's down to Mississippi State. We went to A&M, and then the last one is OU, which I'm heading to Sunday night. We're going to tour it Monday morning. He wants to be an engineer.
Okay.
And that's some good engineering. And he had a really good ACT score, and where he's at now, the most money was these schools as we looked at.
What is Mississippi State like?
Believe it or not, we loved it. It's a small school. It's only got like 20,000 students.
But I mean, that's it. That's all there is.
It's all there is in Starkville.
In
Starkville, yeah. I went and actually talked to Nate Lowe about it because we ate at this place called Little Dewey's.
Okay.
In Starkville, which is like the place to go. If you go to A&M, it's the Dixie Chicken or something like that they have. It's a burger joint there. It's really nice. The town loves Starkville. They love Mississippi State. It takes up half the city, and everything's on campus. I mean, they got that baseball field that's really nice, and it's like a party. You could just walk up there and look at the stadium. I did. I stopped the car and I said, "Wait, I got to see this."
That's what I got to do.
I got to see this. I walked in the gate. Cat's like, "You can't go in there," and I'm like, "Well."
The gate's open.
The gate's open. I can walk in. I walk in. It looks like a party area out in the outfield. They look like
the outfield can get a little bit rowdy. I think.
Yeah, that's from what I understand. And the softball team was playing. We didn't get a chance to go see that. Football stadium right there.
Yeah.
All they talked about were the cowbells and everything else they do. It's right where we checked in to do the tour. Is that I became a bigger fan of Mississippi State. To tell you the truth, I really liked it. Kevin seems to be leaning towards A&M. But we'll see what happens with OU because I've heard that OU. My wife's boss, his daughter is wanting to be an engineer. She thought A&M was going to be it. wasn't impressed by their walk or their tour. Went to OU and fell in love with it. So
OU's campus is really nice. I really like the campus. haven't been to Starkville. I've obviously been to College Station a couple times. Been to Oklahoma probably the most. I really like their campus. It's pretty.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and
well, TCU's got a pretty campus too.
TCU's campus is gorgeous. In fact, that's probably why not why I went there, but the campus is small.
Yeah,
and it's very well manicured.
Yep.
And
we toured it last year with Ryan.
And they've done a lot of work to it since I was there. That's probably why it's $60,000 a year now instead of the drop in the bucket that I had to pay for it. But anyway, we were over at TCU the other day, and Molly, who was 9, said, I think I want to go to TCU. I was like, well, Molly, you better hit the books.
Yep.
Because you need to get a scholarship.
Yeah, we went in with Ryan, and the first thing you do is sit down, and they tell you what it costs in state. And I looked at Ryan and said, if you don't get a scholarship, just enjoy touring the campus. That's all we're going to do. We got to get into baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We on a tangent there, but that's great. We got to hear what's going on in our lives. Big league team, Rangers, Cincinnati Reds are heading into town tonight. If you're watching this, it's probably just come out, or it may have came out yesterday if it's tomorrow. See how I did that? And anyway, Rangers are 13-13. They're playing mediocre baseball. They're a half game back of Seattle, who just took 2 of 3, 1.5 of the wild card. And when you say mediocrity, hanging around 500 is right now. This is the strangest thing. Right now, the issue with this team, and they need to score some more runs, but I mean, they face some good pitching, is the starting pitching has struggled, and the bullpen is the one that's really come in and been well.
Yeah, they're not really clicking on all facets. Like one or two will be good, but the other one won't. So the good news is the defense has been really good.
Yep.
So defense wins championships. They learned that last year. The rotation was really good the first couple weeks. They've kind of had a little bit of a lull. Not like they haven't had anybody go out and give up 9 runs or anything like that. It's just been a little, a couple bad pitches here or there. I mean, the Mariners won those 2 games because they hit 2 2-run homers in each game, and that was it. And that was enough to against the Rangers offense. And so it's Andrew Heaney. He thought he pitched okay on Thursday afternoon, and really, when you look at it, he did. Dane Dunning thought he'd pitched well also, though on the Tuesday game, he just wasn't very efficient. But John Gray wasn't very efficient, but he figured out a way to get him, put him in a position to win. And but they got to stop going 4 innings. Heaney did go 6. That's probably, and he didn't walk anybody. Those are probably the 2 best things about his outing. Evaldi tonight. Excuse me, Michael Lorenzen, who had a nice little start there in Atlanta. He goes Saturday, Dunning on Sunday.
And Cincinnati, it's a good team coming in.
Yeah, Cincinnati's good. So it's going to be a challenge. But to your point, the bullpen's been really, really good. Kirby Yates and David Robertson there at the back end of the bullpen. Leclerc is getting a little bit better, taking baby steps. Cole Wynn's been fantastic.
Oh my gosh,
he's been great. He hasn't allowed a run yet. He just mowed through 2 innings Thursday. It's so strange. He's been wallowing in AAA the last 2 seasons as a starter. Kind of now he's a full-fledged reliever. I wonder if he can, if this gives him enough confidence to go ahead and maybe he can get another shot at starting. But of course, it's very early. He's been in the major leagues 11 days, so we gotta temper our enthusiasm maybe. But the early returns have been fantastic. Jose Urena, he's been great. He was basically signed to be rotation depth. At a time when they didn't have a lot of starting pitching, and he's become kind of. I don't want to say indispensable, but he's one of their best relievers. And
Cole, the funny thing about Cole is I hadn't seen him since he got called up. Now you got to understand, Jeff and I, we look at this like almost like these are our kids, man. We've met a lot of these kids very young, gotten to know them. We're always pulling for them. We always want to see them. You saw me go talk to Wenzel's parents the other night when I was at the game. Yeah. I had to run over and see how grandparenting was because they're new grandparents, and that's and they immediately waved at me and did that. They're fans. A lot of the minor league parents are fans of us because they get to see their kids be on the show and do stuff and all of that. And I walked in. I hadn't seen Cole. He came walking across, and I went, "Whoa, Cole!" And he saw me, stopped in his tracks, came over and gave me a big hug, like a bro hug, and said, "What's up?" And we were talking. I said, "So this multi-inning thing's kind of your thing?" And then he was like, "Yeah." I mean, he's super excited. His parents are coming in, I think, for the weekend.
Oh, good.
They were, they'd made the trip to Houston to see his debut. Now he said they were going to come in on this homestand, and I would assume the weekend's probably what it is.
Yeah. He's always going to kind of have a soft spot because he's from Colorado, and he was wearing a University of Colorado hat yesterday when we talked to him after the game, and that's where my parents went, and aunt and uncle, and I spent a lot of time in Boulder and all that jazz. So, but it's good to see it, and maybe it was the automated balls and strikes. Honestly, maybe something mental was beating him down, but he's figured something out, and so that's exciting. That's exciting. He's not sure how this is all going to shake out. The rotation is going to be in flux as we go through the year. I've got Cody Bradford is supposed to be activated today, or was eligible to be activated, but I think there's something a little more in that back than the Rangers have let on. I think we're going to get some more news maybe today, this weekend, to see if he's going to be out a little bit longer. So that gives the 5 that are in there, I would say, more life, but you know what I mean. They're not going anywhere probably until Scherzer comes back. And
you went and saw Scherzer.
I did after, So Wednesday morning, I had to drive to Houston to get all the stuff out of the car. It was very sad going back.
Let me interrupt you because what I thought was funny was when you told Scherzer, "I'm going to go see your start tomorrow night." When we were there the other night, he's like, "Why don't you just watch it on?"
Because I'm not that cool. I was like, well, I got to be down there kind of anyway. So I had to go to Houston to get all the stuff out of the car, and it was sad. It was kind of like a graveyard for cars, and I said my piece, and I wish the car well in the afterlife, and then I drove on to Round Rock, and so we watched Scherzer, and he was pretty entertaining afterward. The start was good. He threw a ton of strikes. He did not walk anybody. Got a little bit better. He felt fine. That's the most important thing. He's not dealing with an arm injury. It's a back thing.
Right.
So that's important. He's going to go again Tuesday in Corpus. The choice was Corpus or Albuquerque, and Albuquerque is no place to pitch. So with the altitude and all that stuff, and
he's going to fly down to Houston and
go down to
or he could go to San Antonio.
I think he can fly to Corpus. They have an airport. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, and then he, if he stays on every 5th day, he would pitch the next Sunday, maybe back at Corpus. I don't know, but he 2 or 3 starts more down there. The timing of it is the series at Colorado. And I don't think the Rangers wanted to pitch at Colorado on his first start back.
You going to go to Colorado?
No, it's Mother's Day weekend. And the wife is traveling the next day, so it's going to be a disaster. It's unfortunate, of course, because I'm a free place to stay. My family's up there, and they'd love to see me, but the family here needs me.
Trumps it. Yeah.
Henry has a baseball tournament and all this stuff. But anyway, I mean, maybe I'll sneak up there for a day. I don't know. But so I don't know. I'm thinking Scherzer will be on the ensuing homestand. They'll get home that Sunday night. So the Guardians Angels homestand, I think that's personally when I think he'll make it his season debut, but I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but he looked good. Anyway, so when he comes back, someone's going to get pushed out of the rotation, and you kind of look at it, and I guess there's
3 candidates.
Dunning, Gray, Heaney are candidates. Gray's his own worst enemy because he's been so good when he's been a reliever.
Oh, no kidding.
But he's also probably the Rangers' 3rd best starter in the Scherzer, Lorenzen, Gray scenario. So what do you do with that? I think eventually he's going to end up there because
Malley's coming back, and
Malley, DeGrom.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think the Rangers right now probably feel okay about the rotation, though. Honestly, it seems like everybody's kind of trending the right way.
Look, they they did not score runs, which they were not blown out by anybody.
Yeah. If a Rangers starter gives up 4, the Rangers probably should win the game, or they would think that they're going to win the game.
Sure, the way the offense was, especially from last year.
And it just hasn't worked out yet. And like I said, all 3 facets haven't clicked consistently. When they do click, the Rangers win. I mean,
and they win big sometimes.
That's just the way it is. So we'll see what happens here. But
the rookies are also
Yeah.
They do not look lost. You've seen a rookie come up and look lost.
Sure.
I mean, like, okay, you can tell, okay, maybe this kid is not what we thought he was going to be, and all of that. But, I mean, both Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford have good at-bats every time they're up.
They do. We didn't know a lot about Wyatt Langford, I guess, honestly, and he does have great at-bats. He sees a lot of pitches. He has a good idea of the strike zone. Very important there. Carter, of course, knows the strike zone. He's been good against right-handers. The lefty thing's an issue that they got to fix. So he got his first infield hit, or first career hit. It was an infield hit, but it counts.
Right. Exactly.
It's still Langford without the home run.
That'll come.
He almost hit one the other night.
And then he stumbled over,
he tripped, and a crappy deal. But
did you talk to him afterwards?
I was in Round Rock.
That's right. That's right. I was going to say, did he say anything?
I think they're both going to be fine. And I know Evan Carter was a postseason hero and all that stuff, but he's seeing these pitchers still for the first time, and Wyatt Langford definitely is seeing them for the first time. So there's an adjustment phase,
absolutely.
And nobody said it was going to be easy. I think the Rangers were anticipating that there were going to be some struggles there, but you've seen Langford kind of drop down in the order with Nathaniel Loback, and he's been pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Carter
went from 3 to 6,
3 to 5. He's still in the middle of the lineup, and I think it's okay against right-handers. But I think for now, low batting third behind Seager is better for late in games when they bring in a lefty to face those guys back to back.
Yes.
So I think that's just a little bit better lineup management. But again, at 13-13, they're just kind of surviving. They're without,
which is all you got to do right now.
Yeah, they're without Josh Young. Things are still coming together. They've basically been playing for a month, right? Today's the 26th. March 26th was the season opener, or was it the 28th? It was the 28th. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting close. And I think to be 500 at this point, probably not what fans
with that stretch of the
World Series, but they knocked out their longest stretch of the season. They had a 10-game road trip
with good teams.
They've played good clubs. They're playing another one this weekend. So, just kind of biding their time, it seems like, until everything comes together. I think that's kind of what Bruce Bochy is saying.
You just got to hang in.
You just hang in, and he keeps saying, everything's gonna be all right.
It's kind of like the opposite of last year. They got off such a hot start, and then they had that. They kind of padded that big lead, and when they went through their lull, where everything was kind of mediocre, the lead padded. Now this year, the deal is hopefully that they turn into that hot team at the beginning of the year last year, in the middle of the season towards the end when they really need it, and maybe that whole thing comes back forward. As long as you're not out of it, you're sitting in prime position. Yeah,
I mean, and it's not like they're 9 games back. I mean, the whole division stink is well, it doesn't stink, but it stinks.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the preseason expectations.
Sure.
The Mariners are in first place.
The Mariners and
but I mean, they're 1 game over 500.
Exactly.
And then you go and look at the Angels kind of had a struggle. The A's, they're living on borrowed time.
And
but then, God dang it, the Astros are terrible. And they just got swept by the Cubs. They've got 7 wins. They have 19 losses. I mean, they're 6.5 back.
Their Twitter's pretty funny right now.
They're digging themselves a hole, and
that's the problem you're running into.
They're not buried yet. Like if the Rangers had the same record as they had at this point last season, the Astros would be done. They'd be out of it, and so they're not done yet, and they're good. They have talent. But like Jose Abreu, who's just been awful.
Yeah. Watch Jared Walsh. He might end up there.
They're dealing with some injuries. They just got Verlander back, but JP France has been horrible. Has been optioned, or it's going to be optioned. Framber Valdez, and he had that little elbow deal. He was scratched from a start
coming
here.
back,
He's
right?
coming back this weekend. So I wouldn't discount them. I wouldn't rule them out yet, but they're making things hard on themselves.
Well, look, you've got to run off. You've got to run off a run. You've got to win 8 or 10 games to really, honestly.
Right.
I mean, you're going to have to roll off one of those. And right now, I tell you what's killed them is their bullpen.
Yeah.
That $90 million, or what was it, $90 million for Josh Hader, or what?
Yeah. 95?
Whatever.
A big number.
Think about if he was here right now.
They haven't had a lot of opportunity to use him.
That's true. But Presley's been bad.
Yeah, he's having to adjust. He's not the closer anymore. I think it's an adjustment. I don't know if he feels insulted by it or whatever, but it hasn't been very good. So, but again, it's April. We're 25, 26 games into the season. There's a long way to go. A lot's going to happen. So anybody who's panicking about the Rangers doesn't need to be panicking.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all. And
not at all. This team's actually sitting pretty for what they're dealing with. They are an injured team.
You just gotta kind of sit and let everything kind of play itself out. Corey Seager, 1 home run, hasn't hit a home run since the first week of the season. The last 4 games, he's hit 3 balls at over 100 miles per hour. Corey Seager is going to figure it out. Marcus Simeon's been good. Garcia's been good. Josh Smith, of course, has been great.
That's been their best hitter right now.
He's kind of like shades of Ezekiel Duran last year when Seager was out for so long. So anyway, don't worry about it. It's just baseball, and there's a long way to go.
And Smith, let's be honest, Smith's strongest part of his game, I think, is his defense. He's an amazing defender. He's so smooth.
He's got a great arm.
All of that. Yeah. People were offended when I said he's probably a better defender than Josh Young. Josh Young has that job when he comes back. Josh Young is a Gold Glove third baseman. He is a great third baseman. He hits the ball. He is a lot better player than Josh Smith. But Josh Smith is a good defensive third baseman.
Yeah.
And shortstop.
Yeah.
He's probably a better defensive shortstop than Corey Seager as far as some of it. Corey makes the routine play. Yeah, range. Corey makes the routine play look so easy. You sometimes wonder, you take it for granted that he is so smooth at how he handles shortstop.
Yeah, very smooth.
And so
he made a throwing error the other day, and I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, his throws are usually automatic. So, anyway, there's a timing to defense too, and we got to rember. I know. Spring training was a month ago. That's a big deal. Yep. So anyway, and it's a big deal for Lowe. Lowe made a throwing error the other day too that he Gold Glovers don't make. It's just one of those things. But anyway, I wouldn't worry about the big league team.
All right, we got to go down to. Do you want to get Josh in here?
Josh, been bus leagues.
Got to talk some minor league stuff. They're playing.
Yeah, and we were in Round Rock. Saw all of our friends down there. They're sponsoring the guest segment this season, so thanks to them. Great hospitality down there. They were really, really good, and I look forward to. I did some scouting for our trip that we're going to have down there. The live show and May 31st and June 1st, we're going to be out by the beer garden in left field. And
really,
I think that's the best place, and kind of it's close to the clubhouse, so that way players can get in and out pretty quick whoever we need to interview. So, so that's exciting, and they're looking forward to having us, and we're looking forward to being there.
Try to do it all before the game so we can get a couple players in there, and then we can watch the game and do all of that.
Drink some beer.
Absolutely, have a beer. All right, guys, listen. Round Rock Express, who we were just talking about, that's where that live show is going to be. You see what's going on below us there. That's how you join this. $5.99 a month, $60 for a year. Hey, we may have to start something if you guys sign up in the next couple of months. There may be a T-shirt involved if you can do that. We'll see. We haven't decided that yet.
And like we've done the last couple shows, if you want an annual subscription, I can get you one for $48.
Okay.
Send an email to Jeff at rangerstoday.com. Few of you have already done it and are taking advantage of it. Let's keep it going. The show here is part of the whole operation with the website and everything, where we have some exclusive stories like T.R. Sullivan, his memoirs. He's doing The Boys of Arlington right now. He opened with Elvis Andrus and gave a pretty good fair rundown of the Nelson Cruz years with the Rangers. That came out yesterday. So go to rangerstoday.com, check it out. And again, if you want a subscription for $48 instead of $60, Jeff at rangertoday.com, and I'll send you a link and
or
set
DM
you up.
me and I'll hook you up.
Yep.
DM me. All right, guys. Right after this, it's the Round Rock Express guest. Josh Sneed will be joining us. All right, guys. This is the Round Rock Express guest segment. Jeff, what's going on in Round Rock?
Well, a lot is going on in Round Rock. Round Rock is just Dell Diamond is a great place to watch a ball game. Players like going there. So anyway, they're at the end of a homestand right now. They're playing the Salt Lake Bees. Lots of former Rangers in that Bees lineup. Anyway, today's Friday the 26th. If you head out there tonight, it's Marvel Defenders of the Diamond Night. Saturday, you have the Express Prom. And then Sunday, it's Princess Day. Then they hit the road. They go to Albuquerque to finish off the month and to start May. And they will return home the week of the 5th through the 12th. Lots of fun stuff to have. It'll be Las Vegas. They're the A's affiliate. I'm sorry, that's the week of the 7th through the 12th. As always, there'll be a day game for Education Day on Tuesday the 7th. $1 hot dogs. Bark in the Park, always a favorite on Thursday the 9th. And then on Friday the 10th, All Things Pink Night. The 11th, Star Wars Night, and the 12th, it will be Kids Day. So go to milb.com/round-rock for more information.
All right, guys, and joining us right now is our good friend, and this is the second time on the show, and he is a huge Cincinnati Red fan. He's a guru. He works with the organization, son. But more importantly, he's a stand-up comedian, which is always good with me, and that's Josh Sneed. Josh, what's going on, man?
What's up, boys? How are you?
Well, we're doing good. We're kind of wallowing around 500 if you're a Rangers fan, and not quite as young and exciting as the Reds, but the Rangers are the reigning world champs.
I get it.
The Reds haven't been since 1991. So
what happened the last time we talked?
I know it.
What happened?
I know it.
The Rangers got swept. Right, by the Reds, and then you went on to win the World Championship. So I think a thank you is probably more in order. And,
you're right.
And John, right. Did you get a new camera? You're looking crisp, my friend.
Thank you. I'm doing some new things. Yeah, I've got a new actual laptop. So it was a long negotiation with my event coordinator, also known as my wife.
Did the public ask for that? Is that something the public wanted? Was to see you in high def?
Yeah. Why don't you use the camera that I'm using that I had to spend money on? Because it was lagging sometimes when I hooked but that's for also when we do live events too. We had a live show, by the way, this year. Had Josh at a bar, had Josh Boers and Mike Maddox and a couple of people. We had about 200 people. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We're growing.
Come down for that.
Yes, you do, without a doubt. And you need to come to Dallas. When are you going to come to Dallas?
I really am working on it. I'm trying to get back down there to Hyenas or somewhere. And if I do, I promise you guys will be the first ones that I tell. What's that?
Did they reach out to you, Hyenas?
I had reached out to them, and then I posted something with like my tour dates that are coming up, and I said, where else should I go? And then someone said, I called Hyenas and asked for you and was told that they're working on it. So hopefully that's true.
That was me.
You.
That was your Dallas Fort Worth based fan
my contingency.
Yeah. Your posse. We're your entourage here in Dallas. And so we did it. So, this is going to be now that they play everyone in the Major League Baseball now, they play every team every year. This is going to be our tradition. Every year we're going to try to get Josh on when the Reds are coming. Not just for the fun, but he's a huge baseball fan and all of that. So let's talk about the Reds real quick before we get into funny stories and things going on. But they're 14-11. They're 2.5 games back in the Central. Third wild card spot. You guys are already playoff bound.
Third wild card spot. It's April, man.
A little early.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're scoreboard watching here.
Hey, you know what? In fairness, that you say that, but there's been no shortage of years in the last decade where in April we're already looking forward to Bengals kickoff. So it is exciting to be excited about a team like this. And, like you said, I'm a huge baseball guy, and I follow these picks that come through the minor league system. So I know who's in the pipeline and on their way up. And there's a bunch of guys on this team that I've circled for a long time. And the fact that they're all getting here together, it reminds me a lot of when Jay Bruce and Joey Votto and all those guys were just kind of sitting at AAA, and you just knew that they were the future. I think we're going through that now with the current roster. I mean, Ellie, I wish Matt McClain was playing. I wish Noelvi Marte hadn't taken steroids and wasn't out for 80 games. But, Encarnacion Strand and a lot of these young pitchers, Andrew Abbott, and there's so many fun young players. Spencer Steer, TJ Friedel's coming back soon. It's exciting, and it looks exciting for the future. That's the worst thing in a market like Cincinnati is when you put together a fun team, but it's guys off the scrap heap or maybe in the twilight of their career that you grab on a 1 or 2 year deal, and it's a really short window and it's kind of win now. This is different. This is it feels like we're going to be competitive and fun to watch for a while.
Yeah. John and I are both looking forward to seeing Ellie De La Cruz this weekend. The guy's a freak. He's just a freak. I mean, he's good at everything. There's nothing he's not good at. What's his background?
He's a guy that I don't think they had the kind of aspirations and hopes that they have for him now when they first got him. I mean, he's obviously, I think one thing that you'll notice when you see him is I was just trying to phrase it when I first saw him in spring training last year, but he's got a presence about him, like you see him standing around other professional major league ball players and he stands out, just his presence, like how big he is. But when you get to see him run and how hard he swings a bat, I mean, that's the crazy thing is, a guy like Fernando Tatis or that little window we had of O'Neal Cruz last year before he got hurt, you just sort of see every aspect of Ellie's game. You're like, he might be or has the potential to be the best player at this in the league. He can hit balls a mile. He can steal bases like it's nothing. He tracked down a ball in left field last week that had a 0% chance of the left fielder to get to it, according to StatCast. And it went in the books as a pop out to the shortstop, but he was in short, left field. I mean, it was insane.
He was two rows up right down the baseline and inside the stands. Huh?
Yeah. He threw a guy out at home it was 99 miles an hour.
Yeah. His arm is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just we haven't had a player like this where the whole league is like, oh my gosh, look at this guy in a long time.
22 years old. He's a switch hitter. He's hitting 307. He's got a 1.052 OPS, which is my deal. I love OPS. 7 home runs already in April. Good Lord. I can't wait. So when we go there, we get down on the field and Rangers hit first. And then sometimes, depending on who's in town, I'll stick around to watch the other batting practice. But I get to do it, down on the field. It's pretty nice. That's cool to do. Ellie made it. I will be down there trying to get a couple videos of Ellie. I just want to see him in person.
In the same game last week, he hit a home inside the park home run from the left side of the plate, and then hit a 470-foot home run from the right side of the plate.
Yeah, it's a talent. I mean, there's just nothing else you can say about it. And
hit for the cycle in his first month. Stole home. I mean,
he stole 3 bases, right? That was a sequence where he stole.
Yeah, in Milwaukee.
3 bases.
And the picture of him stealing home is one of my all-time favorite pictures ever read. It's a perfect overhead shot of him sliding across head first with his hand across the plate. It's unbelievable. You should find it.
When these guys are first signed, they're 16, or if they're acquired in a trade like Marte was, very very young. And you don't know what you're getting. You're hopeful,
right?
And your scouts think you're onto something, but probably at 16 he was not 6'5". He's probably some kid with long gangly arms that they're like he's got a chance to grow into something.
It's going to grow into his body, and
it's a hats off to the organization for being able to identify these guys.
Yeah,
and now after a very patient few years here, it's good to see the Reds. I mean, the Reds are one of the best franchises in baseball history, and it's good for baseball when these smaller market teams with the tradition that they have. I mean, the Pirates have tremendous tradition.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Cardinals,
they're not bad either.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good for the game to see this kind of stuff. But like you said, De La Cruz isn't the only one. Green, he's on the mound. Graham Ashcroft, our Nick Lodolo from TCU. Got to mention him.
Andrew Abbott is probably my favorite of the starting rotation now. You know, the guy came up and was asked to do a lot as a rookie last year, go super deep into the season because we were injured and ran out of arms, and he took the ball every time and was effective. And, you know, lefty, I love left-handed pitchers, and just I think he's so fun to watch. And, you know, Diaz seems to be back on his game. Fernando Cruz is a reliever of ours that has been lights out this year.
Yeah. No, but I think Abbott is pitching Sunday's game here. Yeah. So, yeah, it should be a good series. It should be a fun series. And the Rangers.
Former Ranger great Nick Martinez is
That's
there
right.
too.
And you guys got some Reds. I don't think Barrero's still on the roster, is he?
He's not. No. He's somewhere in the minor leagues. I think they're working on him.
Yeah,
he hasn't played a game yet this year.
They kept him in Arizona, I think. He cleared waivers. They kept him in Arizona. And we were surprised he cleared, but now I think they're trying to get a hold of him and try to turn him into what everyone thinks he is. If they can get it going. He's still so young.
I hope they can. I mean, he was so promising. I thought for sure he was, before Ellie was even a thought, I thought, you know, Barrero was going to be the shortstop of our future. They tried him in the outfield, and I mean, he was just absolutely raking in AAA, and just something couldn't click. So I hope he figures it out.
I mean, he looks great. I mean, he looks like he should be a really good player.
Yeah, he's good looking.
Yeah. Great body. You know,
but you got Tyler Malley and you got Lorenzen on the roster.
That's right.
And Lorenzen's one of my all-time favorites. The story about his dad and hitting a home run. Do you guys know that story?
Vaguely. You probably know it better.
So, you know, he's a relief pitcher mostly for the Reds. He'd get some spot starts or do some long innings. But when his father passed away, he took a couple days off. They were super close. And then I want to say it was his very first game back after his father passed away. It was a unique situation where even as a reliever, they needed him to go a couple extra innings. So he got a chance to bat, and he hit a home run in his first at bat after his father had passed. And it was just like super emotional. And, you know, he got emotional on the field coming around third base. And it was just like, I was at the game. It was like just like one of my all time favorite memories as a Reds fan at a game was that moment when Lorenzen hit the home run after his father's passing.
Well, he's off to a good start. You know, he signed late. Yeah. The guy, you know, we were talking about Barrero and looking good. Michael Lorenzen, man, he could be a bodybuilder. I mean,
his nickname here was Mikey Biceps. That's what everybody called him.
He's in fantastic shape. He wears Vans on the mound as a kind of a tribute to his Southern California roots. But yeah, he was in college. There was a debate on whether he should be a two-way player or if he should pitch or he should be an outfielder because he could hit, like you said.
So he was Ohtani before Ohtani, right?
That's right. Salt of the earth too. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him, but just the absolute nicest dude. And
absolutely,
I'll pull for him wherever he goes. When he threw that no-hitter for Philly last year, I just was so happy for him.
Yeah, that was cool. And then Malley's a good guy. He's still rehabbing from Tommy John. But,
they expect him to step into the rotation when he comes in. That's going to be I think that's an under the radar signing right there.
The Rangers are going to have 9 starters
at some point.
So they're going to go to that 9-man rotation. I don't know.
I mean, that your whole lineup, like I just, you know, like you said, I'm a big baseball fan. And my son and I are huge into trading cards. So that keeps an eye on a lot of prospects when they're coming up for all the different organizations. And, you know, to see like, you know, Josh Young and Jonah and just your team is so fun. And I'm a huge Adolis Garcia fan. I love Corey Seager getting second life there. You know, I felt like he was super underappreciated in LA for how talented he was. And Simeon is an absolute beast. I mean, your roster is so fun. I love watching you guys play too.
it's a good balance. It's veterans and then like some of the young guys like you mentioned, and now speaking of baseball cards, Wyatt Langford. I haven't seen the market lately because he hasn't homered yet, so maybe that's knocked a few thousand off some of his cards. But my gosh,
Wyatt and Evan Carter, both of
Yeah.
them are like baseball cards. They're hoarding those two guys, and Josh.
Yeah. Fortunately, I got my hand on some Evan Carter cards before last year, but I don't know if the market's ever going to come down on Langford. I mean, if he becomes the rookie of the year or starts hitting home runs, it's going to be hard. I'm gonna have to get lucky and just pull one out of a pack or something.
Yeah,
but,
it's a good time to buy because as soon as he starts clicking on the home run side, like Ellie took a dip last year. Before he got called up, his minor league cards were the most expensive of anybody's. And then he started to strike out a lot, and people were wondering if it was quite the investment that it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And his cards took a dip at the end of the year, and I can assure you they are back up again right now.
My old neighbor he owns Superior Sports Investments. It's based here locally, and he's a pretty big player in the card market. He gets invited to the top summits and stuff like that. And he couldn't believe what Langford cards were going before spring training even started. And he said, "Give it about 6 months." And I hope he's right because my son and I need to get some of those because like I said, I loaded up on Carter when he was right after COVID or during COVID. It was still reasonable, and Josh Young wasn't quite there yet, so we got some young cards. But and I loaded up on Justin Foscue, so hopefully Justin does something. But
I just pulled a cool Josh Young card. So when I was growing up, one of my favorite things to collect was Garbage Pail Kids. I loved Garbage Pail Kids cards, and Topps bought the Garbage Pail Kid brand. And so this is the third year that they've done a crossover with MLB, and I don't know if this will reflect or not, but I can't get it. I can't get it to zoom in. But it's the new series just came out, and it's my camera is not focused. Anyway, it's Josh Young as a Garbage Pail Kid, and this is a parallel numbered to 5. It's a really cool card. But if you like Garbage Pail Kids, check those out because some of the crossover stuff they've done with MLB is super fun.
Yeah, Josh Young is actually a card collector. He's got
is he? And I love hearing guys are collectors.
Yeah, he signed at a card show here in January, and he was. That's why he was there, and one of the representatives from the Boris Corp was there, and trying to set up a little interview with Josh, and the Boris guy's like, "Well, Josh wants to walk around the show, like it was a big inconvenience, But then Josh was walking around, and then the people were following him, trying to get his autograph for free instead of paying for it. But I was by his locker the other day, and I just happened to look down and saw his pile of mail, and when you buy a card from eBay.
Yeah,
you know the shipping label and everything, and he had a couple that were definite eBay purchases. There's no question.
They were his cards. Yeah.
And I didn't ask him what he had in there, but because I didn't want him to think I was snooping through his locker. But
when I was in Phoenix, that's where I met John. I always book shows in Phoenix during spring training so that I can go to Reds games during the day, and then do my shows at night. And this past time when I was there, the Arizona card show was going on downtown. And so I went downtown and checked that out one day, and Evan Longoria was walking around because I guess he's a huge collector. So it was just him and his son down there buying stuff up. And I love to see that, man. And the guys that, the younger players now that they're doing their first Bowman signings, their first signings as a professional player, they're starting to have fun with what they write on the cards, putting little notes like first card I ever signed. So it's just a base card that isn't numbered, but it's going to end up in some random pack, and somebody's going to own the first card that person ever signed. And it just makes the value go through the roof on what would normally be a low dollar card because it's just a normal signature,
Yeah. Speaking of signing cards, I don't know, last homestand, we walked in the clubhouse and there were like 3 people in there, and one of them was Evan Carter sitting at a table, and he had a box of I think it was Topps finest, which haven't been out yet.
Yep.
And he was just signing autographs. And he gave a little insight onto it. And he has his contract is for 25,000 autographs. It's just for his rookie cards. So every once in a while he gets just a box of cards.
Yeah.
And there's 250 of them. No, 2,500 of them. So he'll get however many boxes it is. He just sits there and signs his name. So for this year, I guess the 2024 Topps or Bowman's or whatever it is, he's under contract to sign 25,000 of them. And I was like, I asked him, I said, what if you smudge one? Do they have extras? He said, no, if it's smudged, it's smudged. So
yeah, I've seen him smudged. I've seen him signed in the wrong place. Akil Baddoo from the Tigers.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a Topps Finest or a tribute, but it was a little swatch of his jersey, like a white piece of jersey, and then it had his picture and then like a white area on the card where he's supposed to sign, and he signed the jersey. So it's almost like a misprint autograph because he signed in the wrong place on it. But a buddy of mine here in Cincinnati, he works for Topps as like a contractor, and they'll call him when a Reds player or somebody that either lives close by or is in town playing the Reds needs to do a signing, and they'll ship him the cards, and then he has to go sit there, watch them get signed, and then authenticate that I witnessed whoever. And every once in a while, he'll ask me to do it. And one time he said, hey, can you go to Lexington to witness a signing? And I said, yeah, who's it for? And it was for Walker Buehler.
Oh, wow.
And so it was just, he told me about all these different, it was the first time I'd done it. And he told me about all these awesome experiences. All these guys are so cool. They sit there and talk to you. You become friends with them, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like all excited about it. And I go to his house, and it was the most awkward experience I think I've ever had around a professional baseball player. I mean, I had a massive amount. I guess he let his backlog get pretty full of things that he was committed to sign. And so he thought I was just dropping them off. And I was like, no, I'm supposed to sit here and watch you do it. So I have to come into his house. I sit down on the couch, and then he sits on the floor, his back to me, right? And he's got this little like glass coffee table that's not very high off the ground that he can reach. And he basically wanted me to slide the card forward so that it was in front of him. He would sign it. I would slide that one to the right and push the next one there. And he just faced the other way and watched Californication the whole time that it was the most awkward thing. So I'm just sitting there in silence while this like super awkward TV show is on, and this dude in the room not saying a word and won't make eye contact with me. Man. I was like, you know what? I'm good on these, I think.
Now, one more card story. My son went to a kid's birthday party at one of his teammates, and went to the card store before. I wasn't there. And they bought some mystery packs, whatever, for $20. And I don't trust the mystery pack. Sometimes it's just trash. And so Henry got some decent cards, but the one he gave to Max, whose birthday was, had an Ellie De La Cruz patch card in it, and Henry was pissed. He really wanted that card. But hey, Max had a pretty sweet birthday. He got that card.
Henry came home.
That's pretty good.
Henry came home, sat down, started watching Californication, just ignoring everybody else.
The big leaguers.
That's right.
I mean, Henry got a Yastrzemski card that was pretty sweet, but he doesn't know Carl Yastrzemski from.
So my card experience is, I used to really do them as a kid, and I quit doing them. But my mother-in-law, God bless her, I just love her to death. She buys me, since I've been married 21 years now, every year for Christmas. She knew that I was kind of into cards, but I didn't really. She buys me a full set of Topps every year for Christmas, and I don't open them. And I got them for all my kids. And so this is the year you were born, all of that. And so I know if I open them and go through it, I've got rookie cards, everything from the whole set. But I have the little boxes unopened. I've got a whole closet full of them.
That's good.
And every year I mean, she can buy me socks, underwear, whatever. I don't care. But she tries to hide it somehow. And then everybody will open a gift, and I'm like, did she freaking forget about me this year? And all of a sudden, here it'll come. She buys it for me and
That's
wraps
good,
it up.
man.
That's way cooler than the annual gift I get from my father-in-law, which it's a gag gift, but it's our running joke is we love the movie The Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah.
And so he always used to say, you got my cheese whiz, boy. And so every Christmas, every time I think he's forgotten about it, somehow I'll end up with a thing of cheese whiz in front of me.
Yeah. Hey, the sixth grade Halloween, I was Jake and my buddy was Elwood. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
When I started collecting cards, the 85 was the first year that I remember, like, if I ever had extra money, I would go buy a pack of 85 Fleer. Mm-hmm. And it was a great year because it was like Roger Clemens rookie, Barry Larkin, Kirby Puckett.
Right.
And I still have them, but unfortunately they're not worth anything because my mom wrote my initials on the back of all of them so that I wouldn't get them confused with the ones that my neighbor bought. So I still have all my 85 Fleer. They have a little JS in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah. Now 86 was my first year.
It's a great year.
And so like the 86 Gooden card, because I was a big Gooden fan, is one of my favorite cards.
And 86 Tops is my favorite Tops, like layout. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mine was the 70s, and I remember the first card I got that I thought was cool, besides the Jeff Burrows and the Little Rangers, was Lyman Bostock.
Oh, wow.
Because the story about him, he had gotten murdered.
Right.
Yeah. And I ended up with like 5 of them. And it was like every pack had a Lyman Bostock card in it.
Yeah. There's certain cards that have like a crazy story about them, you know, like obviously like the Billy Ripken card that was the big error. And then there's a Skybox card. I want to say it's of Mark Jackson for basketball. But if you look past him, you see the Melendez brothers sitting on front row.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. Some of the cards that are out there that, you know, either have a crazy picture or something's going on in the background. And yeah, it's super. I love that kind of stuff. I totally nerd out about that stuff.
Yeah. No, I remember when the Ripken card came out, we were at a little show in Colorado and like people were like, have you seen it? It was like just, I don't know how word spread back in those days without phones and the internet, but
right.
It was such a buzz, and we were all scrambling through our damn 89 Fleer looking for this card. And like, so I had one.
You did?
Yeah, I had one, and people were like offering me money for it. I think I held on to it. I still have it. I still have one. I know. I show it to my son every once in a while.
He hates talking about it. But I actually talked to him when I was doing the stuff with Jeff Fry.
Yeah,
he had Billy on. He hates talking about it. He can't stand it.
Oh, no.
It was one of those deals where they were going to take the photo and he was just going to go grab one of the bats out of the bat rack. He was just going to grab his bat and they always would screw with each other and write that on there. If y'all don't know what it is, it says F face on it. It was like FUCK face on the, and he was holding it over his shoulder and it was just saying that. And he said he went and got that bat and took the picture and never realized that's what it was. So when people bug him about it, he doesn't like to sign them. He was ticked off.
Well, then they like put out variations where they like put a
black box or a white box. Yeah.
And did that.
The good old days.
Absolutely.
That's damn 35 years ago.
Okay, listen, we got to do a couple things before we get you out of here. We got to talk Reds first. Are you confident? Are you feeling like this might be something? This is a year that they're going to stay competitive?
If McLean comes back and the people who filled in, I'm so glad we didn't get rid of Jonathan India. You know, we've got this guy Espinal up right now who's playing okay. If we had McLean and I knew we were getting Marte back 80 games in, I'd feel a lot more confident. You know, TJ Friedel should be back soon, but there's so many ifs, right, with every team, and this is a big if. You know, if our starting pitching stays healthy and we don't lose too many more pieces on the starting 8, then I think we can compete. Only because I do feel like it's a down year in the Central. You know, I think the Pirates came out the gate super hot, but they've kind of come back to earth. I don't know that the Brewers have what it takes to be last through the end of the year. Like, Rhys Hoskins, as good as he's been, I don't know that he can keep that up. The Cardinals are kind of rebuilding, and the Cubs are, they're not a powerhouse by any means. So I think the division is there for the taking if we can stay healthy. And then our guys continue to develop. Like Ellie, the big thing was the strikeout ratio at the end of last year, and even honestly starting this year. And whatever, he's so young, but if he can learn that kind of plate discipline, that he'll walk, because that's the thing about him, man. A walk, a single, that's like a triple,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were talking about the other night. Wednesday night, they were looking to add on against the Phillies, and he got a single to right field. Spencer Steer took 3 pitches, and by that time, Ellie was already at third. Flew out to right, and it was a run, whereas any other player, that guy doesn't even get to second base in that at bat.
Yeah.
And
that's old school Cardinals baseball right there.
Yeah.
Coleman, except
so, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm certainly optimistic about it, but I'm optimistic every year that it's going to click. This is going to be the year for, some bum to just figure it out that's never figured it out. That's always my hope, but there's no reason to not be excited. And honestly, as crazy as it is, all these guys that they've called up and are producing now, there's still a ton left in the pipeline. Like that pitcher we drafted, Rhett Lauder from Wake Forest.
Sure.
Like, he's a stud. Like, I think he can be as big of a prospect as Skeens is for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. No, I think he led the country in wins last year and for Wake Forest, and still had a minuscule ERA. Yeah, the kid can pitch for sure.
Well, okay, so on the by the way, guys, intheclutch.com, if you guys have not seen these shirts, we got a little deal going with you also with some Texas Ranger stuff. It's fantastic. You guys need to go to In the Clutch. There's shirts, great Ranger stuff, great Red stuff. If you're a baseball fan at all and you're listening to this podcast, go do that. But I want to get into professionally the comedy. You had teased that you're going to do a new special. Is that right?
Yeah. I probably right around the time we met last year, when I was in Phoenix. It was March for sure. Something just clicked, and I was just like, you know what, man? I've written down all these premises that I haven't done anything with. I'm sick of doing jokes that I know people have heard. People travel a long way to come to my show because they've seen me on Dry Bar, Comedy Central, or something. And while it's super flattering if somebody says, "Hey, will you do the garage sale bit?" or something like that, like, I love to hear that kind of stuff. But then also I'm like, man, I would really enjoy if these people showed up and I had something they hadn't heard before. So I don't know, last April or so, I got into this kick of like, I want to start flushing out this new material. And we had done a fundraiser for my son's travel ball team where I was going to do a comedy show. And I thought, everybody in this audience knows me. They know my act. If I bill this as I'm going to be working out new material, I know it'll be a friendly audience to try stuff out with. And I just dove in and I just started working on this new stuff. And it's come so far, so fast. And I'm super proud of it, to the point where I actually just timed it over the weekend in Dayton to see how much material I had. And it's right at about 50 minutes. So it's real close to being ready to record something that people have never heard before, unless maybe you've been to one of my live shows recently. So the goal is sometime by the end of the year, find a location and record a special of new material that hasn't been released yet. And that excites me very much because, I'm just, all the stuff that I have on the side between being a dad and a husband and, the t-shirt company, like, I'm just don't crank out the material as fast as some other guys, or maybe I'm just not as prolific as they are. But when I get close like this to being able to record something and release it, knowing that a lot of people haven't heard any of it, that's just the most exciting feeling you can have as a comic. So
is Dry Bar still doing their stuff? Could you go back there? Or?
They are. I don't know that I'll go back to Dry Bar. I've been working with a label out of Nashville that's produced a lot of Netflix and Amazon stuff lately called 800 Pound Gorilla. So they've done some collabs with Nate Bargatze, and I don't know. I think that the dry bar thing's been awesome for me, but
yeah.
But I believe that there's a chance that this next one might get picked up by a known streaming service, or could be a streaming service you've never heard of. But the excitement for me to release it is what's driving all of this.
Well, I think Rangers Today might have to make a trip.
Yeah, you tell us where it's going to be at, and we'll go. We'll try like hell to get there and go.
That'd be amazing. I would love to have you guys out for it.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be great. I mean, I would love it. I mean, I always try to find I'm like, why don't he come to like Arkansas or Alabama?
I am coming to Arkansas.
Oh,
that's on the schedule. I'm coming to Lowell, Arkansas.
Say so.
No idea. Your guess is as good. It's probably better than mine. All I can tell you is it's in that state.
Okay. It's probably somewhere near Bentonville or Little Rock.
I think it is near Bentonville, actually.
Yeah, so it's probably a suburb, kind of like Dallas has. I live in Richardson, Texas, but I say Dallas. But
you gotta say the place people know of, right? Like I do that. I live on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River now for the last 10 years. And if I'm on the road, I say I'm from Cincinnati because I'm close to Cincinnati, but also I know as soon as I say, oh yeah, I live in Northern Kentucky, it's like, oh, okay. All right. Kentucky. Gotcha. And it's like, that's fair. That's fair because there's a reason Kentucky has a stereotype that it does. I live right on the border of where Kentucky becomes Kentucky. Like I like to say that I live in a place where the word holler could mean to yell or also be part of directions. Like that's where I live, and Kentucky, in fairness, it has beautiful cities named after some of the most amazing cities in the world, London, Paris, Versailles. But they also have like Sugar Tit and Beaver Lick and Big Bone State Park. And you're just like, okay, you know what? You're not doing yourself a favor with some of these names. Yeah. So I'll just say Cincinnati.
And then the Cincinnati airport is in Northern Kentucky.
It is. Yep.
It's
CVG. CVG. It's Covington. Yeah.
That's the only time I've been to Kentucky.
I've been all over the state of Kentucky.
In the state. Although I did stay in Newton last time, I was up there. I stayed right across the river in the Marriott. But anyway,
Newport.
Have you ever been to West Virginia? Done anything in West Virginia?
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you what. Yeah. I used to travel all over West Virginia and Kentucky for business years ago, and I went to a place called War, West Virginia, and it's called War, West Virginia. It was up on a mountain, and it was 11 miles up to the top. And it took 35 minutes to get up there. And my distributor who I was working with at the time, I worked for a battery company. I'm not going to say who. He was like, we would consign these batteries. And he goes, look, we're going up here and we're not getting but one or two cells. And it's our truck gas to get up there is so expensive. And I said, yeah, we need to yank them off here. This is way. So we go all the way up there. We pull into this little town. I kid you not. So we go in, we go, all right, there were two places that had batteries. We're going to yank them and tell them, you call us, we'll deliver to the bottom of the mountain. We'll bring them to you. We went to the first place, and there was a battery missing, so they needed to pay for it. And we went to the second place. Now, I want you to picture this. I walk in to this place. There is a card table with about 6 guys sitting around it. One of them's dressed in a uniform like he's a police officer. There's a big pile of money in the middle of they're playing poker, and the gun is holding down the money.
Oh my gosh.
And I walked in and I went, hey, look, we're going to yank these. I'm with whoever. I'm going to yank these batteries off. I said, you need to, we do have one missing. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, they're on consignment, so you got to pay for it. He reaches in the pot and pulls out the money and hands it to me. And we walked out and got in our van, and I said, start going down the mountain right now because there is a chance they could lose us and nobody would ever even know where to look for us up there.
Oh, my goodness.
Scary.
So War, like Bang Bang?
WAR, okay. West Virginia is what it was called.
I didn't know it was that, or I wore my coat.
There was a club for a long time in Huntington where Marshall is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I like to support local places when I'm on the road. So I'll ask people, where should we go eat? And the 3 answers that I got were all hilarious in their own right. So for breakfast, they told us to go to Tudor's Biscuit World, which, I mean, that's the most West Virginia name for a restaurant.
But it sounds good.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
Then for lunch, we went to Hillbilly Hot Dogs, where they had a like one of those food contest type dishes that you could buy, and it was called the Home Wrecker or the Double Wide. And it was like a 10-pound hot dog. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so that was our lunch. And then we said, we were looking for dessert later that night, and we go, what's a good like local ice cream place? And the lady got so excited. She goes, they got Dippin' Dots at the mall. And I was like, where am I that people are this excited about Dippin' Dots?
Nice.
I have been to Huntington many times right there. And I probably know where you went. It was kind of on the strip of the main road in downtown.
Yep.
And did it double as a country bar?
Which one? The Hillbilly Hot Dogs or?
No, I'm talking about where you did your show.
There was a place that was a country bar across the street. This was in a little plaza that had like a movie theater and a bookstore. I think we were above an Applebee's, not to get too fancy for everybody, but it was the memories of the road, man. It's
good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Anything else?
We're good.
I'm going to try to get, hey, does Ellie speak English good?
Oh yeah, real good.
So that's a fun fact, and it's kind of funny because we made a meme about this on our Cincy Shirts website. Is Shohei had that whole fiasco with his interpreter and the gambling thing.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, the next week, Ellie announces he's going to start doing press conferences without an interpreter. So we just thought that the timing on that was hilarious, that everybody was like, you know what? I think I'm good on interpreters. I'll just try to do it myself. And so now he is doing his press conferences in English without an interpreter.
Now, have you met him? Have you got a chance to?
I've not met him personally. No, I've been close and I've gotten to witness the greatness, but I've never had a conversation with him.
I know, because you're now talk again. You've got some stuff with the Reds. They do some stuff with you, so you have an in with the Reds, right?
This is very exciting. Is that as of this morning, we are an official sponsor of the Reds, so that's
cool.
Big news for us.
Awesome. In the clutch?
Here locally. Cincy Shirts, our local brand, but
all right.
But through doing T-shirts and the magic of social media, when some of these guys see the designs we do, we've been able to send them stuff. Andrew Abbott's become a friend of mine, so if you get to talk to him, mention that we're buddies. And most of the guys there know our brand. Most of the coaches know our brand. They'll call us and say, last year Joey Votto turned 40. And Tyler Stevenson asked us to do a shirt that the rest of the team could wear to surprise him on his birthday. So we did this drawing of Joey Votto with a walker. Happy birthday, Dad, because all the guys called him Dad.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky that they come to us when they need something internally, and then we can do these cool designs for all these players that people can buy on our website or in the team shop for Cincy Shirts. And then of course Rangers fans. Check out In the Clutch and all the cool Rangers stuff. And I love working with you guys, and I appreciate you giving me the heads up on stuff that you think the Rangers faithful would like. So keep doing that. And anybody listening, if you got an idea for a shirt, send it to us. We'll get it up and happy to make it. Yeah.
Or send it to us and we'll send it to him. We'll get it. We've got the contact to get with Josh if we want to get him something. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
Always. It's always fun. We got some trading card stuff going on. We got
good stuff.
Some good stuff about Cincinnati Reds. We know Josh is about to do a special. We're going to try to make a Rangers Today trip. I'm telling you this, you ever come to Dallas, we're going to run something with the Rangers Today fans. We're going to fill that place one night.
I love it. I'll keep trying, and I promise you two will be the first to know. And
all right.
And I love this friendship. I love talking to you guys year round, and
we missed you by like 4 days.
I know.
I called him.
I'll fix it. I'll give you the heads up so you have plenty of notice on when to schedule your spring training trip.
Believe it or not, it came up. So we booked it, and we had already booked the flights, and we'd gotten everything. And I said, dude, we leave like on Wednesday, and Josh gets there, and he's there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever it was. And Jeff goes, yeah, I know, I already saw it.
Damn it.
And we had already booked everything, so we were like, yeah, no, I already saw that.
Next time for sure. If I don't
All
get
right.
there before then, if I
All
don't
right.
get
That's
down
it.
to Dallas.
You got it.
Boys.
All right, guys. Josh Sneed, thanks for coming on, Josh. We appreciate it. Let you know when this thing comes out. Go to Cincy Shirts. Go to In the Clutch, or just go Google Josh Sneed and look at the stuff on there. And go Google Josh Sneed farted on Jessica Simpson. Still one of my favorite stories he tells. But Josh, thanks for coming on, bud.
My pleasure. See you guys.
Okay, going down in the bus league, guys. Right after this. All right, a big thanks to Josh Sneed for joining us. Always funny when he comes on, but we do need to go down in the bus leagues. You were down in the bus leagues.
I was down in the bus
Well,
leagues.
actually, I optioned you down to Round Rock to go make a spot start with Scherzer. So Round Rock Express, we're going to go down to each one, guys. We'll talk about each one. We'll start in Round Rock. We'll go down. Round Rock's the AAA affiliate. They're 11-13 overall, 5 games back, and they are 4-6 in their last 10. Got to talk about Scherzer. You saw down there. What was the atmosphere? Pretty good.
It was good. It was a Wednesday night, so it was definitely a bigger crowd than they normally have on a Wednesday. They only had 24 hours notice, so I think that kind of, I don't know if they could have done a better job promoting, but I'm sure people had a lot of plans already in place. But it was good, and I had a chance to talk to Jack Leiter, who then comes out last night and in his first start since his major league debut, 6 scoreless innings,
8 strikeouts.
I mean, he's it's just I can't stress enough how different his mindset is, and he just seems so much more relaxed. And we know who his dad is, and pitched in the major leagues, has been on television,
right?
Probably has taught his son the right things to say, and Jack's still saying the right things. It's just different. And he just seems so much more confident. So that's great. And he was really good. And look, he's going to be in the major leagues again at some point this year, even with all the stuff we talked about happening in the rotation and down the line with the Rangers. But it's gonna happen. It's just good. And you look at that team offensively, and really you look at the whole team. They've had a lot of roster turnover, in part because a lot of the guys are in the major leagues. They've had some injuries. Mark Church is in Arizona with a shoulder deal. Antoine Kelly is injured, but he's on his way back. He's throwing bullpen sessions. They have Jansen Woody, the former TCU great, who's just filling a spot. We'll be honest, but Jansen's a good dude.
Yeah.
But Elliot Hernandez is still there. Sandro Fabian, who's doing real well. Sam Huff, who scored the winning run last night on a double to left field by Fabian. And Sam Huff can get around for a big guy. So that's good. They're the guys who are there, who the Rangers could eventually rely upon. Huff, Hernandez, Fabian, all in major league camp. Jonathan Ornelas is still there.
Right.
Andrew Knapp, the veteran catcher, caught Scherzer the other night. Blaine Krim had his first hit at Del Diamond. He joked about that. Dustin Harris hit a home run. Guys who we know, guys who are on the 40, guys who aren't, but who are in big league camp, who are close. Keep an eye on them, because you never know what can happen in the course of a season. And the good news is that they're kind of like the Rangers. They're kind of just
middling around mediocrity,
surviving right now.
They're surviving. That's their depth right there. Last year, I think I tell you right now, you and I both agreed, when everyone is healthy and that roster's full of everyone that should probably be there instead of big league camp or being in the big leagues right now, that's probably the most talented roster in the system.
It's probably one of the better AAA teams in the Pacific Coast League, with Arizona and Oklahoma City. So
yeah.
Anyway, but roster turnover is part of the deal, and
It's part of being AAA, man. It's a bus ride up and back or a small plane. Let's go to Frisco, AA affiliate. They're 10-8. They're 2 games back, and they are 4-6 in their last 10. Our buddy Freeman.
Cody Freeman
hit a couple home runs.
Big night last night. 5 hits. 2 of them were home runs. You know, you really kind of got to admire what he's done. He was an infielder, drafted as an infielder. Really has dived into catching. He's still playing in the infield. He's a very versatile guy. He's got a little pop. I mean, he's
friend of the show.
A friend of the show, but he's a muscular kid in a kind of a smaller package. But we like him, and of course we really like Dane Acker. Again, a friend of the show. He's pitching tonight. He's been fantastic.
Yeah,
he's been really good.
Scoreless, or 4 1/3.
His ERA is under 1. I really think he's going to pitch in the majors this year.
Yeah, you keep harping on that, and you are being proven right. I'm telling you what, he is looked good.
He's a heck of a player. So looking forward to seeing his progress this season.
Little Cody Freeman trivia is when Cody Freeman was on the show, something huge happened.
That's right. That's right. Right at the end, the Rangers sent out a message that Bruce Bochy had been hired as their manager.
So Cody Freeman was there when we got a chance to tell him, by the way, your new major league manager will be Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. So
and his older brother is with the Guardians right now, and so pretty talented family.
Yeah.
So
good
kid.
Hickory, the Hickory Crawdads, they're the high A affiliate. They're 7-10 overall, 3.5 games back in their division. They are 5-5 in their last 10. How about Winston Santos?
Yeah, that's
he won Sally Week Player of the Week, right? Or
pitcher of the week. I mean, he struck out 12 and allowed 1 hit in his last start.
6 innings,
only 5 innings. Only 3 balls were put into play.
Oh my gosh.
So he's he wasn't great last year with them in his first day. He's worked on some things with his fastball that are really making it play up, and so kudos to him. He's going to be in Frisco before you know it if he keeps going like this.
Oh my gosh!
Mitch Bratt had a nice little start the other day. Brock Porter still he's walking too many guys. I'm sure that's kind of something that the Rangers have been dialed in on. Excuse me. And then, Cam Cauley is still on the injured list. Sebastian Walcott, struggling a little bit, hitting 182. He's 18. He's
barely
probably
18.
Probably the youngest guy in that league. I haven't seen the numbers yet.
Yeah, he is.
And,
I looked that up.
So he'll come around but they started out not real good. They're still not an offensive juggernaut, but they've gotten a little bit better. Their record now is a vast improvement. So,
Cam Cauley was probably the catalyst on that offense. He's had a great spring, and he's injured. But that's a guy. If you're on base for some of these guys, it changes the complexion of a pitcher, what he's having to do, hold people.
All of
that can change things too. And he's injured right now. So
but
still, your job's to go hit.
Yeah, but they'll be fine.
Oh, he's 18. I mean, he just turned 18 too.
Yeah.
Sebastian Walcott, I have no issues with. Down East Wood Ducks, they are the low A team and the first full season affiliated team coming out of either Arizona Complex or the Dominican. They're 9-8 overall, 4.5 games back in their division, 5-5 in their last 10. I mean, who do you talk about down there? There's some youngsters there.
They are young, and it's kind of a lot of the same as last week we were talking about. You know the names. You're just kind of waiting for them. JoJo Blackman has returned and made his debut and at the top of the lineup. And I know he's been he didn't have a great year last year. There's just no other way to say it. But he's fast. He's talented. If he can get it straightened out, he's got a chance to move up. He's in a repeat there. Glider Figueroa again. For whatever reason, I can't pronounce his name, but he's a guy to watch. Like I mentioned last week, Tommy Specht, another another top 10 draft pick who can hit a little bit. So
Figueroa hit a home run last night.
Yeah, he's got I think 4. So he's doing just fine and a candidate to move up after spending the whole season there last year. And you got guys who just kind of need to get going again, and they'll do that. They're even less. They're less than a month into their season. All these affiliates except for Round Rock. So.
And watch the name Disla, that Arturo Disla. He's the one that came out of Wayland Baptist, the real big. He looks like a offensive guard. He's like 6'2", 240 pounds, a big boy. Yeah. And he's the one that hit a lot of home runs at Wayland Baptist. The kid I knew that I kind of worked with at our church was the catcher for Wayland Baptist. And doing that. But Disla, he's hitting 273. He's playing a lot of first base. Defense is not why he's there. He is a big boy, and I haven't watched him like in the backfields. I didn't really pay attention to him. I don't know how well he moves over there or what happens or defensively or anything like that. But I've seen some college highlights of home runs, and it looks like he would rather jog than probably sprint.
Well, I understand where you're going with that, and
like me,
I think we all would.
Yeah.
But yeah, with every new draft class, and now that they have the ability to sign undrafted free agents, you see a lot of guys that aren't mentioned in July during the draft, and so it's kind of you have to do a little more homework on guys the last few years. But the Rangers have a deep system. Again, something they can trade from, and Evan Carter and Langford. I think Carter has lost his rookie status technically, so he's lost his prospect status, and same thing. Langford will be there eventually, so the system is going to take a hit, at least in rankings, but still a lot of depth there. And I think it's a system that if the Rangers need a reliever at the deadline, if they need a right-handed hitter at the deadline, they can.
That's about all they really
they go get
looking
one.
at. Yeah.
Well, I mean, right now, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, but, sure. Injuries dictate a lot of it.
We'll see. But
I have long said I think there is a bat that is going to be available that the Rangers will have to take a deep look at it. Nothing against Langford, nothing against Carter or whoever. You could move Langford to left and Carter to center if Tavares doesn't stay. But I always think there's another DH bat or something they might be looking to get in here.
Sure.
And that might be where you're looking. I don't know that they'll be looking on, depending on what happens with starting pitching, whether they go out and get a starter or something like that, but they've got a lot coming back.
Well, and this may sound crazy, but it doesn't need to be a superstar. It doesn't. And I'll tell you right now, Robbie Grossman.
I almost said that just then. He's with the White Sox.
He's batting leadoff for the White Sox. His on-base percentage is .350, and everybody knows he can hit left-handers. And
probably would be so cheap
right now.
Might be take some international slot money.
Have some issues with left-handed starting pitching. So
that's it.
I think that it wouldn't take a lot, as you said. The White Sox are
horrible,
perhaps on the way to the worst season in baseball history.
They've only won 3 games.
They're 3-22 or something like that. They've been shut out. They've been shut out like 8 times this year.
This is nuts.
But everybody knows who's going to be available. You can start looking at these lousy teams.
Yeah,
and say, all right,
these lousy teams are going to start bringing kids up. They're going to start trying to get. It's time to see what you have in your system by getting them to the big leagues. And they're going to start trying to dump some salary and get rid of some players.
I mean, honestly, the reason that the White Sox signed Robbie Grossman was probably to trade him. And probably
that's
part of the motivation behind the Pirates signing a Aroldis Chapman.
They're house flippers. That's exactly what they are.
Look at the Royals. All the guys that they signed. If that doesn't pan out, Will Smith will get a shot at a 4th World Series in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's just how these small market teams survive. And frankly, that's how the Rangers kind of got some guys the last few years before their World Series years. You can go down the roster and look at trades and go, they traded him. Well, that's why they signed him.
Absolutely.
You sign them to flip them. And that's the way baseball goes sometimes.
All right, listen. Hey, this was a long one today. Anything else?
No, but Jesus, we're already. That's a long one, but it was great.
Josh
great
was
talking
fun.
to Josh. We kind of bullshitted for a little bit there at the start. And, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a good one. We'll clip them out, get them out, guys. We appreciate you following us. Hit the YouTube subscribe button down there if you haven't already done it. Tell your friends about it. Join up at rangerstoday.com, $5.99 a month, $35 for 6 months, $60 for a year, or send him an email. He'll give you a full year for $48, and you'll see what it is. There are things you get on there that you don't get on the newsletter. But if that's the way you want to go, get on the newsletter. Sign up for that either way.
Convert. You'll see. You'll figure out what you're missing.
Yep, you'll figure out by doing that. Big thanks to Josh Sneed for coming on. That was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. We're going to try to get something together with Josh and go see him when he's somewhere, see his new bit he's working on. Yeah. But, guys, thanks a lot for joining us on this one. For Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore. And until next time, we will see you at the yard.